Kia ora and welcome this evening to the Doc Edge Q&A with Dead Sea Guardians. This evening we have with us Ido Glass, one of the directors, and Yoav Kleinman. We also have Oded, who is one of the fantastic swimmers and subjects of the film as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Great. So look, what a film. Stunning cinematography, the music. I loved the music as well, just beautiful. But look, first, I just want to ask, Yoav and Ido, what drew you to the subject of this film? Was it the swim, the sea, or the people? What was the reasoning behind Dead Sea Guardians?
I believe it's all the answer is correct. It's all of them. We both of us connected to the Dead Sea. We love this place. And I used to go there as a kid. And now when I'm taking my own kids to the place, it looks like a disaster zone. And actually what happened, Oded called me a few months before the swim. He asked me to come voluntarily to shoot one day for the campaign before the swim. And I came. I didn't know Oded until this conversation. We never spoke before. And we drove together to the Dead Sea. And then he told me about the story of the swimmers and how risky the swim is. So I understood I have to make a film of it. So I called my partner Ido, and the journey began from that point.
Right, and
very rapidly we noticed that the issue is the main heroes, the three characters. They are wonderful story each other.
So when you first started with this journey of the film, it was through Oded and then finding the other protagonists as well. You just mentioned about the danger of the sea. We see that just in the swim alone, Oded, but are there other places in the Dead Sea where it's really impossible and extremely dangerous to swim and you had to really work out your pathway?
Not really, because the Dead Sea is usually it's calm. I mean, usually, but you can swim without the mask, as you saw. It's the salinity. It's 37% salinity, so you need that mask. And then when you swim freestyle, because most of the people, the vast majority that come to the Dead Sea, they just want to float, enjoy the place, and you never, the context is never swimming in the Dead Sea. And for that, it was a new issue to swim the Dead Sea and to swim that stretch. One thing that can go wrong is if the weather changes and the high waters, like even if it's 20 centimeters, it's rough because it's heavy. It's a different sensation. Okay, so the water is a different sensation. So you cannot swim when there's strong currents or wind, but it seldom does it happen. We were lucky, but don't try it at home.
Okay, I'll take that on board. Yoav and Ido, you were in the boat beside the swimmers filming. Was there any point in time that you sort of were nearly tempted to do the swim yourself?
Not even 1 second. It is
I knew that would be a quick answer, but you never know.
It's a diff. If the water gets into your mask, it's an issue. You have to practice it. It's not easy. It's so it's so salty, and it enters your eyes or your mouth. It's not a nice sensation. You have to practice it. You have to be aware of it. And no, you cannot just come and do that just for fun. I wouldn't recommend.
That's why
they are practice. They are practice for 1 year for this occasion.
And Oded, just in the way to the Dead Sea, Oded told me that if you drink like half a glass of water from Dead Sea, it's like a snake bite. It's so dangerous.
Yeah, it creates actually kind of a spasm. So, and that's it. You're doomed, practically.
Wow. So there is a bit of danger in swimming in the Dead Sea. Speaking of danger, why is the Dead Sea in danger, and how can we help save it? Here from New Zealand, we're watching this film and going, well, gosh, what can we do to help this campaign?
Okay. So for the last 25 years, the Dead Sea is declining by 1.2 meters a year, and that is due to no fresh water is coming from the Jordan River. That's about 60% of the issue, and the other 40% is the plants, the companies that extract salt, and so we lose a lot of water on the way. If you want me, I'll delve into this, but regardless the issue, we need to take care of it and manage the water flow. And what we've built is a headquarters that will bring on board people. I'm aiming for 1 million people from all over the world that will sign in and create this public impact from all over. I mean, regardless if you're in New Zealand, from Canada, from Egypt, or from Israel, you can make it. You can add your vote and sign and create some ripples that the decision makers in Israel will take action and look at this place as this is one of the wonders of the universe. It's the lowest place on the planet. We're talking about our Himalaya. Okay, it's a wonder. I recommend everyone in this lifetime to visit the Dead Sea and the Jordan River. It's a sacred river. It's a fascinating place. I mean, King Solomon, and made it so long ago, and it's just vanishing in front of our eyes very rapidly. So I call upon people to hop onto the website. It's called DSG Project, Dead Sea Guardians, and to join in, add their voice, and tell us, the public can tell us where they can add. If it's funding, it's graphic, it's creating events like documentaries. This event will create ripples, and these are the ripples. These are the ripples that will move people from their, comfort zone and say, how on earth did we ruin such a place in such a fast, rapid time, 25 years? And so I cannot accept it. And I'll, with all my force, will make it happen. But we need a lot of people to sign in, bring on board more and more people that say enough. Now it's time to save it. And now we have this, window.
So we saw that beautiful shot at the end of the film of the three of you on the bridge over the River Jordan and, signing that commitment to this preservation of the Dead Sea. Since that ending, have the three of you continued working together towards this?
Well, sort of, because it's not easy. Our neighborhood. It's not like we drive and go to the other side. It's like kind of complicated. Munkid himself is in Iraq now, in Baghdad. So I can't drive there. And Yusuf is in the Palestinian territories, and it's not very easy to go back and forth to the Palestinian, but we're in touch. Eventually, each and every one of us has his own community, and that's where it becomes more complicated. Okay, in a way, I'm kind of I don't know if the word privileged, but I'm full force in this, and I call upon my community because eventually Israel is the one that lives on the shores of the Mediterranean. We can desalinate and we can, share our water with our neighbors. And so we have these conversations on how on earth could we add on people. It's a process. I mean, I think it'll take time. Both Munkid and Yusuf are aware of it. It'll take time.
Thank you. And so, Yoav and Ido, when you came into this project, as you mentioned earlier, you met Oded, and then the project grew from there to discovering the personalities of the three men that were doing the swim, and then it grew from there. It's quite a quick documentary, that said, because often documentaries can take many years. What was the process and timeline over this, and how did that develop?
It's taken a year to making it, because we need to build the companionship between them, and then we start to get into the swim step by step, and from the movie side, we need a lot of money and patience to make these steps. We have a Sundance, the Sundance Institute by our side, and then we began to run.
And the Sundance Industry, did they come on right at the beginning, or was something that you pitched once later on into the process?
Right in the start.
Great. And did you ever think at any point of time that Oded might give up on getting the authorization for the swim, and where would you be left then? What would be the outcome?
Never. Oded carry us with him till now because they already finished the film, but we are still so deep in saving the Dead Sea because Oded didn't. Sorry to speak in front of you. That I hope you're not so embarrassed, but Oded see this. He didn't saw the swim as the end of the goal. The goal is to save the Dead Sea, and I told before that I came one day voluntarily to shoot one day. And I'm stuck with this story around 5 years. Till now, I'm working in this issue of how to save in the Dead Sea. Just last week, we launched the quarter of saving. How you said it today? What did the word in English?
The headquarter.
Headquarter.
Save the Dead Sea.
The Dead Sea. So we called many people to come and join us. Very important people. So we are totally. I never thought I'm going to be an environmental
filmmaker,
activist, yeah. And because of that,
I baptized him.
Please don't do it.
You might need to do the swim next.
But Rachel, it's not about the swimming. Actually, I must say, one of the benchmark was New Zealand. There's a precedent that a river in New Zealand sued the country. Are you familiar with that?
Which river is it, sorry?
One of the rivers in New Zealand, the river itself sued the country. In New Zealand, yeah.
No, I know there's issues with the Manawatu River.
So I looked into it, and New Zealand was one of our examples. Fascinating as it sounds, so it's a small world. And so I will not give up on this. And people that are around me are, as I said, they're baptized. They can't give up because it's a life, mission. It's not something you just come and say, I'll save it, and if it works, it works. No, you can't. And I think in the end of the day, I would like to create this kind of a manual or an understanding or a know-how that it's our responsibility as humans to take care of our environment. It's not a nice to have mission. We are organisms in this place, and we have to act accordingly and take care of our environment. And so people can join in. And I think in films, it reflects very nice because then, soon after the film, we have to work. But the movie is a perfect vehicle. It drives all along the world and it tells the story. But it's just one side of the very complex story.
For sure. And I suppose that sort of brings me to the question, how can we prioritize the unity and change over conflict? I mean, that's one of the big things here.
That's a very good question. I'm not a politician. I'm a citizen of this world, and people are people. And I think we need to drink more coffee, and we need more swims, and we need to have business, and we need to love, thyself and the others. And I think that it gets complicated when it goes, to the higher level of politicians in this region, especially in this neighborhood. This neighborhood is a very funny neighborhood. So long as it stays between the people, it works. It works. You've seen the movie. It's complicated, and you have to build trust. It's all about building trust and showing compassion and love and so on. Basic things that you have within. And I humbly say that it can work if we leave it to us, the people. Okay, we the people can make a change, but we need to deeply understand that we can do it. And nobody is opposing us and nobody is threatening us, and we can do it just because people are people. And I think that down the road, it might take a decade, I think even less. We have to build trust, and water and food are the tools, are the very basic tools that can make a change.
We don't have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice here. Water is an issue, but it's an issue all over the world. So let's take together care of the water. Let's together grow our best food that we can, and we can do it. Nowadays, we have the technology. Israel is leading the world in desalination. Israel is number one in desalination and purifying water, and in growing food in vertical and so on. This is how you create trust. You make viable businesses concerning with the bare necessities, not the Bitcoin and the blockchain. So they can come along later on, but the bare necessities that the world is suffering nowadays from, that's where we can join forces. And that's where we win and where we lose. That's the balance, okay? That's where the equilibrium that we have to focus on. And I took upon myself this duty to tell the story and talk about these basic elements. We want our plate full. We want to have meaningful life. We want to have good, fresh water. And it's doable. No one can tell us otherwise.
Well said, thank you. Look, I think one of the things that I took away, I did you talk about the water, and yes, there's the lack of water there, but also when you talk about swimming and using the swim for the movement for change, I think was really beautiful and powerful. With that in mind, what is your next swim as such? What is your next step forward?
The Dead Sea swim.
You are? So when is that? So November 12th?
November 15th.
15? Sorry, thank you.
We hope it's not will be the Dead Sea walk.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're doing a lot of activities in the Dead Sea. A lot of activities. I'm actually inviting Bruce Springsteen now to have a concert in the Dead Sea. So I want arts and sports. I find arts and sports as the best vehicle, to convey a message. When you're swimming, you're almost naked. You have nothing to hide, and people from all over can just join in. And the swim is just, a calm way to say, hey, this, we share our waters. It's not ours. We won't take it to the other life. We never got. It's a present that we live in now, currently now. So it's a nice, and it looks good in the movies also. But I think it's a nice way to demonstrate. Okay. It's a different way to demonstrate. Sports, I think, should be a way to demonstrate. So, hey, we're all united. We look the same. I mean, we're all chimpanzees. We look the same. We have the same uniform, and we go for the same values, We share the same values, and we have to do something with it. I think I will strive for more swims in the Dead Sea. I swam all the oceans, the Indian Ocean, the Pacific, and so on. It's good. It's nice. They were all for a cause, whether for sharks or for refugees, and I'll keep on doing it. But that's, for others. They call me and say, hey, would you like to create this swim? But here in our neighborhood, I'm obliged to fix it. We broke it. We should fix it. And I think we can. And so swims in the Dead Sea and bring tourists. There's a lot of tourists from all over the world. Christians come to the Jordan River. And whenever I go to the place where Jesus was baptized, and it's very, it's like a 5-minute drive from the Dead Sea, it's the Jordan River, I get so emotional, I almost cry, because it's a life-changing event. You bring people to the Jordan River, and they take off their clothes, and they baptize, brother, and the congregation is baptized, and it's out of this world, and people are, they come out of the water, and they're happy, and they're healthier, and they have a different attitude. So we have to build this attitude. We have to nourish it. Also in the Dead Sea, they put their mud, and then I don't know if it's healthy, even that mud, but they think it's healthy, and they burst into laughter, and that's where they become healthy. That's the point. People ask me, how do you say that the Dead Sea is the most healthiest place on earth? Because people burst into laughter, and laughter is healthy. And so this is the healthiest place on the planet.
I was going to ask you about that mud. I think there's, in New Zealand we have Rotorua, where we have boiling mud that you put on, and the Dead Sea mud. With that as well, there were some symbolic scenes, arts type scenes, where you had guys who were covered in that mud, carrying buckets with their on their heads. Who were they, and how did that work into the film, Ido?
You mean for the statues?
Yes.
Yes, they are a theater group in Israel that's make one of the 10 shows, street shows. The best, they are winning one of the 10 street shows in the world. They call Stones, and they make like a presentation like a stone, like a statue that's come for life. That's how we meet them, and we just suggest them to get in, and it's they in.
There was a point in the film that Oded tried to recruit people from around the world. So we need to create kind of a campaign. And we came with the idea that we need to find something more visualic. So they join us, and we create kind of a campaign to call all the swimmers from around the world to join the swim.
It was great. I think
Rachel.
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, I'm saying that whenever you approach people and you tell them we're going to save a sea, it's, it's so it's so huge that people don't understand what you're talking about, so they join in. It's so huge. It's the biggest issue. I've recruited Sir Richard Branson and the Virgin Company, and we told them we're about to save a sea, and so they joined in, and they followed us, and they posted, and it was fascinating because it's a megalomaniac kind of an idea. How on earth would you save a sea? And I said, come with me, and we'll show you. We're about to save the sea. So it's whenever the project is so funny and outrageously crazy, people join in.
Amazing. Look, I know we could carry on so much here, but look, I just want one final question beforehand, before we finish. And Oded, we sort of talked about your continuation. Yoav, you've talked about going into sort of being a bit more activist. But what about film projects for you both? What is the next project? Is there something that's happening at the moment?
For me, I'm still deep in the Dead Sea Guardians section, trying to show it all over the world. And there is some ideas in the background, but not something really.
So you're definitely sort of working on that impact campaign to get this film out and make as much noise as possible around it, yes?
Actually, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, look, please, we will post those websites. I know that there's plenty of people that have seen this film that would love to get behind and help you. Thank you, Oded, for the invitation to come over there. We'll definitely be adding that to my travel list. And I hope at some point to see you all in New Zealand as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys.